Alright. It's time again. It's time for the 12th day of the Advent of Cyber challenges here on TryHackMe. Now, I want to make it sure that all of you understand that Advent of Cyber is for beginners. So, the very first day is, of course, very easy, and then it gets harder and harder for each day as a progression thing. Now, sometimes you stumble upon things you haven't tried before, and this is where this is perfect for you guys to learn a lot of things using TryHackMe. Now, I'm gonna start the machine already now, and it suggests us that before we begin, we should start the machine, and the Grinch Enterprises has been leaving traces of how their hackers have been accessing data from the system. You found a unique server they use. We need your help to find out what method they've been using to extract any data. We noticed that machine IP is generating unusual traffic. We highly suspect that Grinch Enterprises are using it to access our data. We will use Nmap to discover the services are running on the server. So basically it seems like we're going to do some server enumeration. Yeah, so the first question is already up. It's about a Microsoft Windows host. As we learned in the past in previous Windows machines usually have no ping enabled, meaning the ICMP protocol is disabled for host discovery. So we're going to use the dash capitalized P N flag to totally remove the ping discovery. So what I'm going to do is just copy paste the command because it's already there for us. I highly suggest that you do write them yourself to get it into your fingers. This kind of muscle memory is a good thing. So we get a lot of servers now. We're getting the services, the port 22 for SSH, the RPC, the BIOS, Microsoft something, NFS. Okay, so we have a file share service running, it seems, and some other things. So what is it that the question was? How many ports are open? Alright, so from this it seems like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm gonna write 7 as my answer. This is correct. Alright. Network file system. So we found the NFS share, and they talk about that this is ability to transfer files between different computers and is available on many systems including Microsoft Windows and Linux. Consequently, NFS makes it easier to share files between various operating systems. In the scan results you received earlier, you should be able to spot an NFS mount D depending on whether you use the SV option or the Nmap or not. So we didn't use service, version, and a little more than that information enumeration flag on Nmap. So which port it detected for the Nmap that the NFS system is using. So basically it's just going back and say that port 2049. 2049. Enter. Alright, so now that we have discovered the NFS system is listening, let's check what files are being shared. We can do this by using the command show mount in the terminal, run show mount E for the, well, it's a thing you will learn. Sometimes the host is supplied in front. If this is in front of the IP address, either it's H for host, U for host, E for host, whatever letter they chose. So it's just highly confusing. So the dash E of the export shows the NFS server's export list. So if I read this before, I would know that the host isn't supplied with the E, it is just the export list. However, what I said before still counts, so I'm gonna copy this, and I only copy pasted it once. Let's see if I'm good at this now. Wow. So I have no show mount command installed. I did, it just required some sudo privileges. So I see share admin files, my notes, and confidential everyone on a confidential folder. So I'm just trying interesting. So what is the question they want me to answer? As we can see in the terminal above, we have 2 shares in my node. After you have started the attached machine, use the tag box to discover shares. How many shares did you find? So I found 1, 2, 3, 4 shares, so I'm gonna write 4. Let's see what they say to that answer. Whoop, whoop, that is correct. Alrighty then. How many shares show everyone? I think that was 3, like 1, 2, 3. Yeah, and my notes is none. So I would say 3 as my answer. Alright, let's try to mount the shares. So whenever in Linux you're mounting something, it is basically the same as you are accessing it in a way, right? It's very difficult to explain mount, but I highly suggest you go ahead and read about it. We can create a directory on the attack box using mkdir make directory temp1, where temp1 is the directory name. Then we can use this directory we created to mount the public NFS share like that. So what we're going to do is basically go to my terminal. I'm going to mkdir. I'm going to call the directory, let's call it day 12. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this command they gave us here, just start to copy paste it. I need to mark all of it and then put that in here. And temp1 is basically not the folder anymore, it is day 12. So I am mounting that I'm mounting that drive or folder on that server which is behind it. That is the IP address. And when you mount something, you basically say that stuff should be accessible in my folder like this. So I'm going to do this. I failed. Let's do sudo in front. Access denied by server while mounting. Let's go back and see what they said. And this is exactly what we should suspect. It says access denied because my nodes is the one that I think had no privileges. So let's just try and say we can see that the mounting is failed. My nodes is not public and requires special authentication mechanism that we don't have access to. Let's try again with another folder, the one called share. So that is one way to, was it share or shares? Let's see. Share. Alright. Press enter now. And now we can go inside the folder day 12. Notice that when you're on Linux, when you execute commands and it doesn't return with any kind of yay success, it means success usually, right? Let's see, we have 2 files. I'm gonna cat the content of the first file, and the first file contains, wow, how interestingly boring. A lot of text. Let me just, so too much text. So basically I'm gonna try and say cat the other file instead, and that is exactly the same. Lots of nonsense again. It seems like a lot of text about, I don't know, nothing interesting for me. So let's see. We didn't get any errors, so it was success. Let's go inside to share. What is it? What's inside of it? We basically did that. We saw those 2 files. Those are 2 text files. We can open them using any editor. So we could use like Nano or something like that. So what is inside? Well, what is the title of this file? So what I'm gonna do is basically just, as they suggest, I'm gonna open the file in Nano, the 26 one, and the title is Meditations. It's just a title, so why not? And then put it in, and that is the correct answer. It seems that Grinch Enterprise has forgotten the SSH keys in the system. SSH keys. One of the shares contains a private key for SSH authentication, ID _ RSA. What is the name of that share? So it would seem that we would need to look through different shares now. I'm gonna just clear the screen and say Let me just. I want to see what's inside of it. Yeah. So let's try and. Well. It could be confidential. Why not? So let's try this. Oh yeah. Let's go outside the folder. Then go inside day 12. See what's inside of it. Very boring. Very boring. Alright, so let's let's try to mount another drive. Let's do admin files, I guess. Admin files should be accessible. It's everyone. Admin files. Well, it would seem that it is not. So let's go inside the day 12 folder one again and say, okay, so we still have the same files. I think maybe we should go back to the tutorial and just look at it and say, what did we do wrong? What did we do wrong? One of the shares contained a private key. So, well, there's a pretty good chance that it is, of course, hidden. So let's just get a list all. I think, did they show us the unmount command in this? I think this is the correct syntax. Okay. We have no unmount command on this server. Anyways, let's just see what they say again. Yeah, looking for some sort of share. Alright, so what I think we should focus on here is basically to think that sometimes when you mount a share, you need to unmount it. And since the tutorial didn't tell us to do that, which I kind of avoid doing things which is not a tutorial, or well, this is a tutorial in a way you can tell that because you get all the answers. I think what I'm gonna do is basically let's just take to show all the different possibilities again and then make a new directory, and then let's call it day 12_1, and let's go ahead and mount. I really want to mount the confidential one because this is the rich confidential one. This is the original one that I wanted to mount. Let's do 12.1 into the directory, list it all with SSH folder, and we have a ID RSA key, which is, yeah, we have it. And since this is probably the private one or the public one, now we can SSH into the server and further enumerate it, but this is probably not what we wanted to do. We want to supply which of these are the folder that, well, the share, so I'm going to post in confidential. We could of course also have been looking on the amounts of, you know, stars and then counted them, but I wanted to do it in a way so you saw that I'm only using the tools. I was about to use unmount, I haven't installed it, so anyways, it didn't matter that much. We can calculate the MD5 sum of the file, MD5 file name, so let's do that. Yes, so MD5 sum ID RSA, and that is our MD5 checksum. I'm gonna paste it in, and that's correct. So basically this room was all about the NFS share, the file share, and with that we could enumerate different kind of folders and so on. So whenever you are using TryHackMe and you are enumerating Microsoft Windows servers or just Linux servers, is the possibility that could be a NFS share. And if there is, now you know how to look inside of it, what's public for everyone, and if there's anything you can misuse or get from that information from the folders, you also know how to mount the drive and further enumerate them. So I hope you liked my video, and if you did so, please consider subscribing to my channel, because it would really help me a lot if you did. If any comments, just leave them below and I will get back to you. Until next time, bye.